Way out to church this evening. Miss Gloria, we're losing. Me and you are losing. You're over there by yourself tonight. Me and you are losing the race here. Oh.
I saw Debbie today, she called me today, and I think she's gonna be coming back pretty soon. Now, they're on a little trip. She called to tell me that Mike's daughter, Jennifer, will be going down checking, will be staying with the cats. So if I saw a different car down there, not to call the police. But she said, I started to come on Sunday, but I was kind of confused. I guess what she didn't really know whether he was coming or going. And that was some,
Yeah.
maybe that would be sometime, I guess she maybe sees it on, I don't know, you may have had it on our news, but I know on Messenger, I know she watches, reads Messenger anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that they'll be coming by.
Well,
That's good.
you weren't hurt because she didn't ask you to feed the cats for you.
No, she didn't ask me to.
Donna is not going to be here tonight. They're camping, away camping. But she did say she had her follow-up appointment with the cardiologist today, and things went real well.
Good.
What about her husband?
She didn't mention him. I guess he's okay since she's camping. She took him camping.
I did get a report on Rufus is doing a little bit better. He's still having pain, and but he did have a good night's rest last night, she said. I was just talking with Emma just before I came, and she said for us to remember Mike, though, they took him from Narco about sometime today and took him to the hospital. He got sick down there. So let's remember him.
You know, Mom always requests prayer for her brother JB, but they took him to the ER in Morgantown today, and ended up holding him over, keeping him. They're going to do a stress test and stuff. He's having some heart problems, which he's battling cancer and stuff, has been for a good while. But remember them. Somebody else. Oh, John with Betty's John.
Betty said that he's going to have another surgery. She doesn't know details yet. She was trying to find out something about it, but for some reason he's going to have another surgery on his eye.
I
So
thought it went well.
it seemed as if it had, and it wasn't even. She said it was just a little bit pink on Sunday, as opposed to having it was red before. But I don't know if something else has popped up or. And then he had the appointment with the cardiologist as well this week. And they did confirm the diagnosis, but they said that it's treatable.
So how did Brooke get results back from everything good with her?
She hasn't told me anything. And I was just talking to her, so she hasn't said anything different. So I guess nothing's out of the ordinary, other than just the normal going to getting tests and stuff.
Yeah, tomorrow's our first day on our count to summer next year.
Yeah. 180 days.
She said that Stephen's Marfan syndrome was confirmed. The left ventricle is dilated, but the aorta is still perfect, so that's good news.
Yeah.
Continue to remember Katie. I think they're seeking another opinion on some of hers, so this confirmation or something on it. So let's just remember them. That thing.
Yeah.
Remember Bud and Missy too. I miss old Bud not here.
Yeah.
Missy too.
Yeah, they could use the prayers.
I'm thankful God's been helping Mike and his back's been feeling better because he's not been working as much.
I went to work today and now my back is,
Maybe we found the key to the answer, Ron.
yeah. Kind of.
If
Yeah,
they
that's,
support you, Mike.
yeah, that's
that's
half of that, I just, the other half of earning a living.
Yeah.
I may need to do a better job than being a teacher.
Anybody else? Y'all continue to remember the church and things too. Never forget that when we're praying. Remember the church. Invite people. Me and Gloria need more people on our side. Tell them they got to sit on the left if they come.
It's nothing life-threatening, but my mom has always, since I was a little girl, she has always loved surprises and gave me birthday parties, even as I got older, even when I didn't want them, she would do. She just loves to send me things in the mail, and she's just always like that. She's very giving, and she gets stuff for her family all the time. Anyway, it's her 70th birthday coming up, and I am trying very, very hard to give her a surprise birthday party. And I'm not the greatest at it, and so I just, it's going to be at her house, and so it's kind of hard. That's a little difficult too. And my dad's involved, and he's not involved, which means he's involved. So just the whole dynamic. Just if you don't have to, but I just been praying that God would help me to make it a wonderful birthday for my mother.
Yeah.
I said all that to me, but yeah, thanks.
Just still help us with those things.
Yeah, remember Donna McClung, out in Rich Creek, her son Tony passed away late for last.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, Willis.
I wanted to bring up the missionaries that we listened to the other night. It's just amazing what they're able to do, and I just kind of feel like we don't realize how blessed we really are.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it hit me that way. I don't really realize how blessed I really am until I hear what other people have gone through in order to get the gospel. And I really have a burden for them.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the one thing they asked for was prayers. They didn't really directly ask you for anything besides prayers.
I remember Stephen Madugo was one of them, and he wanted prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's remember them, boys. Remember that. $3 a day. So,
The population of the world, of the population of the world, the United States is a very small part, but most of the others they're in poverty, or they're in an area that religion is not accepted.
yeah. All right, let's go to prayer. We each want to lead a rain prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we pray that your grace on you to see you. We're just thanking you for the opportunity to come out to your house tonight. Lord, I just pray that you move with these prayer requests tonight. Lord, you know each and every one that's been requested. No matter how big or how small, dear Lord, that you can help us with anything. Lord, that you have all that strength and power, dear Lord. Lord, I just pray that that we can be witnesses out in this world, dear Lord, and bring us to be encouraged, Lord, and bring us to be in shape that I can make the right things that I need to do, dear Lord. Just that advice in the right place, dear Lord, and bring the right message to the table, dear Lord, and for our people to receive your word in a way that you want to see it, dear Lord, in the fashion you want. I pray that I just keep myself moving out of the way. I pray that business men that I work with, the things, dear Lord, that they need, that I can let my light shine, dear Lord, around those people, and that they can see that Jesus Christ is the real reason, dear Lord, and the answer for them, that nothing else matters. It is living for Christ and making our way to heaven, dear Lord, having that eternal life. Thanks for dying on the cross for us and what you did on the cross. making a way for us to get there, Lord. I pray that you be those missionaries that we listened to Sunday night, you know, when they made an impression on us, and it really brought to light what, the rest of the world's like, here, Lord. You know, we just, sometimes don't realize, how good we do have it. We thank you for the blessings that is poured upon us, dear Lord, that we can, just have freedom of, religion and things, dear Lord. We can come and study your word and assemble together, dear Lord. I pray that, you keep us strong in that. I pray that, as Gloria has spoken with, Debbie, dear Lord, I pray that you bring one Debbie back into our fold, dear Lord. You know, we miss them. I pray that you bring back the church with us, dear Lord. Let them, fill her right back in with us, feel like a strong again. You know, we miss them. We pray that you bring them back to us. Do we get each every other prayer request tonight, dear Lord, be with Mike and lead Bible study, be with me and lead the kids, dear Lord, you know, that we can learn something from that, and just take it and build from it, dear Lord, and everything that we do, we just pray, and we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Lynn, let's switch it up and get us a song tonight. We'll dismiss the class with a song. What do you think? He was playing and I was ready to start singing, even though I can't sing. Page 130.
I turned the wrong page. Even after saying it.
find right there. There is power in the blood.
Amen.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Amen.
You know, and I was thinking about something, and I think it was Sunday evening, I was talking to Gary after the service over at Laurel Fork, and I told him I'd listen to a message, you know, and Stephanie reminded me of it when she was talking about how good we got in here and what the way the rest of the world is. But I listened to, I think it was Brian Baird preaching a message, and his title of his message, it might have been Calvinism, I don't know which one of the two, but the title of his message was The Danger of Living in God's Grace. And then he went on to, and you think about it, and he even said it when he said, you know, don't take this wrong, but just how good we got it, you know, living in God's goodness, you know, and we slack off, and we don't realize, and then you see Sunday night, and you listen to a man preach from Kenya that, you know, and he talks about, well, I do all these, I've started 8 or 10 churches, you know, and try to keep up with them, but I still got to work 8 hours a day for $3, and, you know, and he pretty much said no work, no eat, so, you know, so it is, you know, and it really hit home with me, just how much I take for granted.
Yeah.
Living here in the world that we live in, and I don't know, God, I ain't gonna preach to you right now, but God put that on my mind, but it is something to think about. It was a good message if you listen to his whole message.
Can't take everything for granted, can we?
Yep.
I was listening to a song on the way to school the other day, The Goodness of God. And the words just kept coming back to me. Like, it's just, I just started crying, like I was sobbing. Because he's just so good to us.
He is.
I mean, sometimes we just, you know, we go on with life and we don't stop to think, but then when we realize that, you know, no matter how terrible we are, no matter how many times we deny him, because we do, when we follow our own desires and our own understanding, we're denying God. Because we're saying we'd rather do what we want to do than what you want to do, God. So even when I do that, he still is good to me. He is still so wonderful and graceful, and he gives me forgiveness that I don't deserve.
Yeah.
And just listen to that song and just saying the words. I just put it on repeat. I was tormenting myself, but it's like, he is so good to us.
He is. He loves.
Yeah, I think there's a song out there that it says, the lyrics in it says, I never want to abuse your grace.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So.
That's good, you know. And it's had my mind. I've been thinking about it since last week, because that's when I heard it. But that's even good too. I don't want to abuse your grace, you know.
Holy water.
Holy water. Yeah. That's good. Well, we'll let Mike come up. I'll leave you with that to think about the whole time you're in Bible study.
He's still good even at the end of the time.
Oh, yes.
Habakkuk coordinates.
I'm dry tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We was up in the top of this building for 30 yards up there, and it was hot. Oh my goodness. There was no air. Alrighty.
Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people. That was my first inspiration, I guess.
Gloria, I was going to tell you that Gabe's Bible study there that one morning was about the sheep and the goats, and the sheep are on the right-hand side and the goats are on the left. So, well,
Depends on which way you're looking at it.
sort of from my perspective, I guess. But there.
People's looking this online,
I guess that just shows you
don't
there's
think doesn't matter.
two different ways to look at things.
This is my seed for 45 to 50 years. This is my husband, I think.
Oh,
So it's like, and I'm sort of, most of the time, I'm at least between Gabriel and Adam.
Yeah. That's almost biblical. Between Gabriel and Adam. Yeah.
That kind of sounds like you.
Oh,
Not that I got an attachment or anything over there.
okay. Well, here we are again. Let me get this thing set up. See where we're at.
On the other right side,
143. Yeah, you're right.
146?
143. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we went through the first. Let's see here. We were on the fourth seal, and then we were going to the fifth seal. And yeah, I had this. We're still in Matthew 24, and just going through it. And we could see how we laid out the first, the second, the third, and the fourth seals. They lined up in Revelation. And if I get this, turn this thing on.
Might be neat to turn it on.
I think I didn't turn it on. Okay, and Jesus tells us that this is the beginning of sorrows, these birth pangs that are happening. And then he also, let's see here, we're going to go to parallel scripture passages, and we'll be in Matthew and be in Revelation. So Matthew 15 through 21, if somebody would read that, please. Or we could take a couple verses or a verse.
Matthew 24, you mean?
Yeah, chapter 24.
You didn't put that up there.
I guess I didn't. Matthew 24, 15 through 21. So if we just want to grab a verse and read that, that'd be fine. Anyone?
When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, and stand in the holy place, whose radiant let them understand, or whoso readeth, let them understand. I'll get there.
Sorry.
There's tiny text back here. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall be, or nor no.
Take the headphones off.
Yeah, that wasn't helping. No, nor shall be.
He's hearing.
got
He's
feedback.
hearing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, trying to hear yourself and talk at the same time.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we see here the abomination of desolation, which we have talked about before, and like I said, we know from Daniel that it happens in the midst of the week or in the middle of the week, and this is the Antichrist setting himself up as God, either as an image, or he is setting himself up as God in the holy place, wanting people to worship him. If they don't worship him, then there's penalties for that. And we know that there's going to be some oppression here, and it goes all the way down here into 21, and Jesus says this is the great tribulation. So, like it says here, it says there, when you see this, spoken of by Daniel, so this is prophesied, and like I said before, this is AD 33, AD 30, whichever date you want to take. But Jesus is talking about the future. He's talking, he's telling his disciples, he's answering these questions that they had at the beginning about signs and when's this stuff going to happen. So it's like I said with the persecution, it's the people in Judea. It's centralized right there. Don't know how widespread this is going to be, but he does come down into 21, and he says that this will be great tribulation such as not been since the beginning of the world until this time, nor ever shall be. So it doesn't really say, like I said, how outspread this is, but we know that the Antichrist is going to have a lot of control over the world. So, but like I said, we're going through the parallel passages. If we go to Revelation 6, 9 through 11, if somebody would read that, please.
Someone else got it. I got one.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
Okay, so here we see, and like I said, we studied this before. This is martyrdom. These are people that have the testimony of Christ, and they're being killed for that testimony. And then John sees them under the throne, saying, how long is it going to be till you judge and till you avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? And what does God tell him? He says, just wait a little bit longer. There's a number. There's a number that has to be completed. God has a number because he doesn't just randomly do things, There's a number that has to be completed, and then he's going to do this. He's going to judge the world, and he's going to avenge their blood. So, like I said, the Antichrist sets himself up as God in the third Jewish temple and demands the people to worship him. He stops the sacrifice and offering and begins to persecute Christians. We've seen this in Revelation. We've seen it in Matthew, Daniel. Paul talks about it in 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. So, like I said, this is the chronological order of the 70th week spoken of by Jesus. And like I said, we're paralleling these seals with this week. We did the first, this one here is deception. This here is all deception. These are all the issues that come with the deception that the Antichrist is proclaiming. He's proclaiming he's going to have peace and safety for the world if you just, do what he's going to do, or do what follow him. He's a world leader. We find that out from the kingdoms. And then in the center here, he is revealed for who he truly is.
That reminds me of that, about how the devil is called the father of lies,
Mm-hmm.
and he also is the author of confusion.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that if
Yeah, this is a lie. This is a lie right here. This is deception, and he gets many people, to apostatize, as we learned in I think it's 2 Thessalonians, when Paul was writing about that, about the apostasy has to come, and then the revealing, of the lawless one. And the lawless one is revealed right here when he breaks the covenant. He sets up the abomination of desolation. He stops the offering and sacrifice, and then he starts the persecution of God's people.
So, like, is the Antichrist, I don't know, it's just a stupid question, but like, I wonder if the Antichrist is, like, demon possessed, almost. Like, is he, like, being controlled by Satan?
Yes.
Yeah,
He's controlled. He's controlled by the dragon and the false prophet.
He's gonna be silver tongued.
Charismatic.
Yeah.
When he gets
Yeah.
there, he's gonna say, I got you.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
yet he's not actually Satan, he's just
No.
being,
No, see, it's like I've said before. It's the three. It's the dragon, the false prophet, and the Antichrist.
oh, that's right, because they're.
Because he's copying God.
God's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and then, like it says in here in Matthew, Jesus titles this the beginning of sorrows, the birth pangs. And then he titles this the great tribulation. So, let me get to the next one here. Okay, so like we've been, what's that?
You've never told us God is not right.
Yeah, God is not reigning. We're going right back to where we started. So let's see if we can find more patterns in the Bible on how God works. We've done this before. Let's see if the Bible can make the 70th week of Daniel easier to understand. Okay, we're going to focus on 4 main points in each of these events in Bible history. 1, the first one is a warning of God's wrath. 2, oppression by evil people directed at God's people. 3, a miraculous event, something man cannot do. Okay? And then 4, a removal from God's wrath. So, let's go to Genesis chapter 6. Here we go, starting in the beginning again. And I tried to make these short because there is a few of them. So, Genesis chapter 6, 5 through 13.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, if you would, please.
Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. That's really hard. Like, it's very sad, I think, that God was sorry that he made man. Anyway, so the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping things and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. This is the how far did I go? 13.
Yeah, down to 13.
This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generations. Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Oh, I will destroy them with the earth. Sorry.
And then, I mean, it seemed like you were going to say something.
That's it. We're done.
Okay, so we see here the questions. So, what was the warning?
The warning was that he would destroy it.
He's going to destroy them. God says he's going to destroy them. Was there oppression? And this is against God's people. Remember that. What does God say about the earth?
It was filled with violence and corrupt.
Yeah. And what does he say about Noah?
He was just. He's a just man.
He was just and he was perfect in his generations. All right? So it doesn't specifically say that he was oppressed, but if you're the only just person in the world and you're building this huge ark in the middle of land, he's probably going to get a little bit of
You would.
oppression.
Yeah, I would think the people that lived there probably made fun of him or teased him.
Oh, yeah. Like they do Christians today.
Genesis chapter 7, 13 and 16, if somebody would please. (13 and 16).
Maybe that's true.
In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them in the ark. And 16.
Yeah.
And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him. And the Lord shut him in.
The Lord shut him in. Okay, so what was the miraculous event? That man can't do. Remember, he built the ark, he covered it with pitch, he's got the door. I don't know if you've ever been to the Ark Encounter, but they have the doorway there.
I know, that was.
And they have a light that shines the cross up there, and you can get your picture taken in it. And it's literally salvation lies within that door. Okay? Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. Who opens the door, I will come in and we will sup together. So
So you're saying the miraculous event was him shutting the door?
God shut the door and he sealed. Okay. So these verses were a little bit backwards. But if you read this, there's a lot of chapter breaks in this. And it kind of goes back and says one thing, and it goes back and says, it just keeps kind of repeating itself as it's going down through the genealogies and a lot of things. But if you read it straight through, it's kind of like, okay, we already said this, and it kind of goes. But that's just the way the Genesis is set up in the first part. Don't know why, but that's how Moses did it. But I pretty much answered this question. I don't know why I said we. They.
All right, the teacher's going to come and bring.
Uh-oh. Sorry about that. I think I did it on all of them. So were they removed from God's wrath?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because
They were secluded from the rest of the world.
that's right.
The door was closed.
The door was closed. They were inside. Salvation lies within. So they were inside, and they were saved. I think it actually says, and I don't know if it says this or not, but or I heard someone say that not one raindrop hit Noah's head.
I don't know that I've read that.
I don't think that's in the Bible, but I think I may have heard someone say that.
I can believe that.
But yeah, because the rain is God's wrath, and he didn't see it.
No, he just there was only a little small window in
Yeah,
the ark.
yeah,
Noah didn't see any of this.
that's right.
Devastation, whatever you want to call it. He didn't see it.
He did not see it.
God protected him.
You definitely, and you read a very important part in 13. Mine says on the very same day, that they entered, God shut it. He shut the door, and then the rain started to fall. on the same day. You'll see that in these other ones too. I'll just give you that little hint. Okay. Let's go to Genesis chapter 18, 20 through 23. Yeah, 20 through 23. I tried to shorten these up. I encourage you to go back and read these stories in full, because there's a lot of information in there.
I just started reading in Genesis last week.
Oh, really? All right.
I'll read it through again.
Good. Praise the Lord. Absolutely.
And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is coming to me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abram drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
Okay. And then 19, 4 and 5. If somebody would read that.
But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, and all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, what are the men which came in to thy this night? Bring them out unto us, and we may know them.
Okay. 9 through 11, if somebody would. Like I said, I tried to shorten these down so it wouldn't be so much reading.
And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand, and put Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they were wearied themselves to find the door.
Okay, 15 and 16.
When the morning dawned, the angel urged Lot to hurry, saying, arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of the city. And while he lingered, the men took hold of his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought him out and set him outside the city.
Okay. So, what was the warning here?
That the city was going to be destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to point out here where it says, the men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abram still stood before the Lord. There was 3 men there, but if you read in chapter 19, the first verse, it says, now the 2 angels came to Sodom. So the Lord stayed with Abraham and talked with him. It's just kind of interesting. I actually saw that. I never saw that before, and it's always good to reread these stories, and it's very, very interesting. But yes, he's heard the outcry in Sodom and Gomorrah, and he's going to come down and he's going to destroy the city, because Abraham says, would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? And then we know it goes back and forth about how many people would it take to save the city, and it gets all the way down to 10, and of course God's not going to let the righteous perish with the wicked. All right?
Couldn't find 10 righteous.
He could not find 10 righteous people. That's right. Okay, so was there oppression? Yeah. Yeah. Actually, like I said, if you please go back and read the rest of this. If when they entered the city with Lot, he saw them and he knew he knew they were angels. He knew they were good people. Okay, and it was evening, and they said, "Oh, we're going to sleep in the courtyard." And Lot's like, you ain't going to do that. There ain't no way. You come stay at my house, And he knew why, because here we see what happens very quickly, that the old, the young come, and they want the men to come out, and they want to know them. And if you don't know what know them means, read more of the Bible, and you'll figure it out. Okay? So, yes, there was definitely oppression. Okay, what was the miraculous event here? That, like I said, man can't do.
What, the blinding?
Blinded them. He blinded them. Absolutely. But right before he done this, he does something else too that is good to note. He grabs them and pulls them into the house and shuts the door. He separates them. So he separates the righteous from the wicked. The righteous on this side, Gloria. The right and the left. So we didn't know that was going to go together tonight. So were they removed from wrath, as we see in the rest of the story?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. And as if you like I said, if you read the rest of it, they were... he had son-in-laws. They thought Lot was joking, and he said, no, we ain't going with you, And then his wife is, fiddling around trying to do this, and the angels finally grab them and take them out of the city, forcibly take them out of the city. And he basically tells them, he said, I bless you. He doesn't say bless you, but he tells them that I can't destroy the city until you're out. You got to get out before I can destroy the city. So before God's wrath can come, there's a separation, and they are taken out of the city and saved.
This is very comforting to think that God shields us from when he shows his wrath. I think there's a difference between God's wrath and just his punishment, because I think God punishes people, like he'll chastise the people that he loves. And
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah,
But
he
his
definitely
wrath-
will.
But his wrath is,
His wrath is something different. Very different. But I also want to make a point here. These guys came to the city in the evening, and don't know how long this had taken place. But when they left, the same day God's wrath came. Same day. So let's go to Exodus. You didn't know all these answers were in here. Oh, I'm sure you. I'm sure people are. But it's just very interesting.
well, it's nice how we bring it all together.
Okay, so Exodus chapter 11, 4 through 11. I'll just tell you, this is probably my second favorite Bible study. It would be the Exodus.
Yeah, I wonder what your first one is.
No idea, huh? Chapter 11, 4 through 11, if somebody would read that, please, or read a few, or whatever.
And Moses said, Thus saith the Lord, about midnight will I go into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the meal, and all the firstborn of beasts. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be like it any more. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, again man or beast, that ye may know how the Lord doth put difference between the Egyptians and Israel. And all these thy servants shall come down unto me and bow down themselves unto me, saying, Get thee out, and all the people that follow thee, and after that I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in a great anger. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, and the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go out of his land. And I don't have an
Yeah,
11.
I'm sorry. Typo on. Well, you should.
If your Bible
It's
has it, then we need to
it
stop.
might. We used to say that's in it's in chapter 7 of Hezekiah. So. But okay, and then Exodus chapter 12, 21 through 23, please.
Give it another shot here. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out the door of this house until the morning. For the Lord will pass through, smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, the Lord will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come unto your houses to smite you.
Okay. So what was the warning here?
The firstborn of the land is going to die.
Firstborn is going to die. You ever notice this? This is a really horrible thing. Because we see it in Jesus' time. They tried to kill him, you know, the firstborn in the Bethlehem and the surrounding cities, you know, from 2 and under. And then we see it here, and then we see it in the oppression, if I may. Moses was put in the basket and put in the Nile because of Pharaoh's order to kill all male child, you know, all the male children. The midwives were to take them and throw them into the Nile and you know, drown them. It just, that is crazy. And it just makes you think about, like we were talking about earlier, these people in these other countries and how they suffer for the gospel. You know, what we've seen Sunday night, you know, we have nothing like that. We really don't. You know, we can freely do whatever we want, you know. I mean, they're trying to stop us, but in America still, you can freely do that, and, you know, praise God for that. So, what was the other oppression? If you know, like the kind of the backstory with the Egyptian, or with the Israelites.
The Egyptians had them kind of slaves, didn't they?
Slaves for 400 years. They were oppressed for 400 years. Prophesied. One of my favorite people in the Bible, Joseph, with the coat of many colors. You know, I just tell you this. I love it. In the end of Genesis there, it says, and Joseph said to his brethren, I am dying, but God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. You know, and he says again in 25, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. I really like Joseph. You know, Because if you go up into Genesis 50, verse 20 there, sorry, I'm jumping around here and I'm adding more to this. But he says here, he says, but as for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good in order to bring it about as it is this day to save many people alive. And I just think it's just such an awesome story where they sold him into slavery. He goes to Egypt and he becomes second in command, and there's a great famine, and then he brings all his people to Egypt. 75 people go out, 1.3 million people come out of there. So, but sorry, I'm just going off on a
That
tangent.
just goes to show that you shouldn't judge your situation by
Yeah.
what it looks like.
Yeah,
Because-
Joseph had a hard time of it too, but God blessed him. Through him, he blessed, but he didn't care. He didn't care that his brothers treated him poorly. He said, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. So,
You just think about for this day and age, like with, I think Katie, like her situation seems really difficult right now, but with God, all things are possible.
yeah.
And just like Joseph, he became second in command. God can do things that we would never even dream of. And, he may answer our prayer, but it might not be in the way that we expect. It's going to be the way God wants, because his ways are higher than our ways. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have to pray to be accepted. That's huge for me.
I said, sorry I got off there, but that's one of my, I really, really enjoy that time period. What was the,
But excited about it.
what's that? You couldn't tell I was excited? Yeah, I get a little excited about that. Yeah. I'm going to tell you what now, it gets over here. It's right. But what was the miraculous event that happened here?
They put the blood over the doorpost and.
Yeah. This is kind of a twofold kind of thing, and being removed from God's wrath. Like I said, if you read 23 there, it says, for the Lord will pass through to strike the Egyptians, and when he sees the blood on the lintel, on the door, he sees it on the door. Here we are mentioning the door again. I think when Jesus says, I am the door, I'm standing at the door, salvation is beyond it. Paraphrasing, of course. But the Lord will pass over the door and not allow the destroyer. Okay? So, God knows who the firstborn is. Man doesn't know. We don't know everybody. We don't know. We wouldn't know everybody in Smithers or Montgomery. So this is a miraculous event that, like I said, it may not be as specific as the other ones, but, God is withholding that destroyer, and he's saying this one and that one, that's the ones you can take. These ones, no. These ones are mine. You can't have them. Okay?
Also telling us, Mike, to be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, go back and read all this. There's a huge amount of preparation for this. A huge amount. And I want to note that the destroyer comes at midnight. And on the same day, they were delivered out of the land. And like I said, go back and read it. What were they told to do? You put your sandals on and you put your staff in your hand. You have your pockets full of unleavened bread and you are ready to run. You're ready to go because it's going to come like that. Really, really fast. As soon as it goes through, then, it's time to go. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot more to these. I hope you go back and read these. So, all right, Daniel, chapter 2. It's 8 o'clock, but man, I'd like to get through this one. Eventually, I want to get down here. It seems like I'm backing up a little bit, but that's all right. Daniel chapter 2, 44 and 45. Right back where we started.
And in the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall be left to other people. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Inasmuch as you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and it broke in pieces the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what will come to pass after this. The dream is certain, and its interpretation is sure.
Okay, Matthew 24, 4 and 5. We're just, like I said, we're going to back up here a little bit and do this.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and shall deceive many.
21 and 22.
Are you talking about chapter 24?
Yeah, this is all in 24, sorry. Yeah, verse 21 and 22.
For then shall the great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, to this time, no nor shall ever be. And except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake of the days that shall be shortened.
All right, and then 29 through 31.
Immediately after the tribulation of these days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with great sound of trumpet, and then shall gather together his elected from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
All right. So what's the warning here?
The earth is going to be destroyed, right?
Well, yeah, but specifically in Daniel, what's God going to do?
Sun will be darkened. Moon will not give light.
Yeah. He's going to destroy these kingdoms,
Right.
and he's
Oh,
going
yeah.
to set up an everlasting kingdom.
That's right.
All right? Okay, so is there oppression here? Where do we see that?
Well, I mean, the kingdom's going to be destroyed, so, I mean, all this, I don't know exactly what person.
Yeah, but, I mean, take all the scriptures into account.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, remember, what is the things that we can't do? We would title that under the miraculous event,
Right.
okay? The sun, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light and the stars will fall from heaven and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. We can't do that. Only God can do that. The oppression here is, okay, take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come and say that I am the Christ, but they're not. And Jesus states about the great tribulation such has not been since the beginning of the world until this time. So there's oppression. And then there's a miraculous event. And then we read...
Oh, okay, so you're saying the great tribulation is the oppression.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then the miraculous event is the sun darkened.
Yes. Yep.
And all
And then What happens in 31?
He gathers
The elect.
the elect.
The sound of the trumpet. He sends his angels, and they gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other.
And we will not be around for God's wrath.
So we're not around for God's wrath.
So wasn't it back in Genesis with Noah's tongue? Is that where we read it? That the words were, that there was, about the wrath such as the earth
Never
has never
Nah,
seen.
that was in the curse and the oath. And I think that was,
Something we read tonight.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then, so up to.
Well, we did actually cover that verse, them verses. I had them on twice. When we did the fifth seal about the martyrs under the throne of God. Because we actually read this passage twice. Yeah, 21. And actually, Teddy, I think you read 15 through 21, I think.
Where at?
And we was doing parallel passages with the fifth seal. Yeah, with the martyrs underneath the throne. But I'd really like to get to the rest of this, but man,
Matthew 24:21.
I just don't have the time. So,
Oh, sorry.
oh, it's all right. We'll do this in here.
We read it back in the Old Testament.
Yeah, it is in the Old Testament. I believe it's talking about Jerusalem. Yeah, it says that the thing that has been done in Jerusalem. How is that? I'm pretty sure it's in the curse and the oath, and that was in. Oh, I had to look back through it.
Well, but my point was where it was said there before, at that time,
Yeah.
because I was thinking it was when he destroyed the earth with the great flood.
Oh,
I was
okay.
thinking that
Yeah.
when he said that there, when it was written there, that the world had never seen anything like that at that time.
Yeah.
And then from that time until the time of the Great Tribulation
Yeah.
and the coming, then the world has never seen that
Yeah.
up to that point.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that was very similar.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not real sure where that's at. I have to look it up. I'll
Well,
have to
that's
find
the
that.
same thing. So what she's saying is that in the flood, up until that point, there had not been anything happen on the earth as he did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now it's another parallel passage, so and so up until the end times, or whenever this happens, nobody's ever seen destruction like that,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
but that's really cool how things like that,
But yeah, do you see how that all ties together? I mean, I hope you get that much out of this. Like I said, I wish I had a little more time here, but we don't. But yeah, just like I said, continuing on here, with this chronological. I don't know why I even put this here, but I think this is just a duplicate slide. But like I said, Jesus, the beginning of sorrows, the birth pangs, and then the great tribulation, and then. We'll stop there and pick up next week, and just go from like 22, Matthew 24, 22 to the end of the chapter, and we'll go over that again, and we'll pick up some more high points on that. So we. Just to try to explain it a little bit better. So, thank you. It's all you, Adam.
All right.
I was up here preaching a little bit now. You didn't hear me stomping and throwing my fist and everything.
They'll be singing a song about you about the stomp and snort. A little less stomp and snort. Excuses song. But I told Teddy when I come in earlier, I said, I don't think I got anything to put on announcements. That's unusual for us. Usually I've always got something up there, got something planned, but I sit back here and I made that little announcement sign back there. I'm learning a little bit of Gabe's area back there, but God put it on me. He's like, invite someone to church. That's a good announcement to put up there. So, that is. There's somebody that doesn't have a church, doesn't go to church. Invite them to church. We've seen it turn people around a lot just by that, inviting somebody to come to church. But we don't really have any plans Sunday. Just 10 and 7 and yeah, well, it's the next one is September 10th, I reckon. Yeah. So
Bake cookies. Bake cookies. Sunday.
I need a reminder like the day before.
Sunday.
oh, okay.
Yes.
So, but do y'all still want to stick with that? I mean, is that like a good plan? You want to cook on the second Sunday?
That's the one we go to the church, or to the nursing home.
We're going to the nursing home every month.
Yeah.
Second Sunday of every month at 2:30. But we're going to do that service and probably not have night service. Just have.
Will the other church with us as well?
That was a really good turnout this weekend.
It was. It was good.
Do you guys ever get to actually talk to the residents there?
You can.
Yeah, you can. I talked to a couple of them while I was down there.
Now, I'm always just wondering, where if they're remembering, if they know what's going on, are they
It don't matter, just go talk to them. They'd love to talk to them.
Yeah, the
I
one
guarantee
lady
it.
I talked to, I don't think she knew
Yeah.
maybe where she was at, or totally what was going on, but
Yeah.
still they could talk. But yeah, like actually if,
Whether they understand when you talk with them or not, they remember the old hymns. They remember what it's like to hear preaching. They remember how to praise God.
yeah,
And it's very important to have that in front of them, because when all other things in your mind are disjointed, that is one thing that stays pretty consistent. And I've seen that through all my years that I've worked in that you can have somebody who may have behaviors that are just off the charts, but when they hear gospel music and when they hear preaching, there's a calmness that comes over them that can't be explained, except by the grace of God.
There was several folks that were singing along. That one fella, he was singing along really good, and it looked like his eyes were clear, like he was right there in the moment. And we went to talk to him afterwards, and you could tell he kind of disassociated and kind of questioned what was going on.
Well, the Holy Spirit doesn't age.
it's good, so I really enjoyed it, it gets us out and probably takes some of us out of our comfort zone, and, I was a little out of my comfort zone the first time I went. I was kinda in there last week, but,
It actually puts me back in mind, and I think that's good for me.
yeah,
It's good for me to be reminded what I've done,
yeah.
that God let me do.
Well, something I've been convicted about is that we live right beside a prison, and Mike actually has, there's a pastor, a friend of ours in Ohio, he travels down here to visit people 3 hours in that prison, or he's done it in the past.
Yeah,
Like-
he hasn't done it recently, but he has done it in the past, yeah.
But I don't really want to go to the prison, but I'm just wondering if there's something that we could maybe write letters or something like that.
They do have church.
Do they
Yeah,
have?
I have
Yes, they do.
I have a friend, actually, he was the owner of the company I worked for before they sold it. And he, at the time I worked for him years ago, he had never been saved. And then he was saved, and he's turned his life around, and he has established the Malachi Brothers. And he takes this into different churches. And then he will actually, he educates a lot of the prisoners here, and then he goes all over the East Coast, I know, with the Malachi Brothers. So there is definitely, a presence there.
There's a chapel, well, you worked there, didn't you?
very short amount of time, so I don't really know anything. I never seen the chapel, I don't think. I just seen that little dark.
I think maybe something like, something we could think of is, maybe sending brochures or something, like tracts,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if.
I'm sure there's something we can do.
I wonder if we could contact the chaplain there and just maybe ask about prayer requests or things that we could pray about that he would know about. I mean, I know they're prayer requests, but like.
See, and
Believe that some of those-
I don't know if Debbie still does that or not, but that was her job.
I don't think she's doing that now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Debbie,
I think she's.
she would probably have all the answers if we could. No, not.
Now, Karen worked there for a while. Yeah, they do have, some of the inmates are pastors. They weren't going in, but they have,
Oh, that's cool.
they, yes, they
That's
have.
very cool.
And that's
They
through
have
the
been
mountain.
saved and they do preach. The turnout's not as much as you think it would be, but they do offer it, they do.
Yeah.
I have sang, in prisons before, gospel music.
If you set anything up like to go in there, you can, but it has to be like approved, and it's this long drawn out process. And you can only wear certain kind of clothes, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of detail.
Might be something we'll be able to do service a year or something,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
you can, I mean,
Something like
of
that.
course, you have to go through the warden, and then he has to go through the Department of Corrections. But once a year, I don't know if they still do it, but once a year, they used to have families come up for a picnic. And all the families could come, yeah. But
They
they
had
couldn't, like,
that, for several years and then COVID stopped it.
yeah, COVID stopped it, because Robert
Yeah,
Dutton,
and I think
they
they
had.
might have, they may have started back, because we can hear the music.
Yeah, see, I
all the
didn't,
way
I didn't,
to our
because
house.
you can bring children in there, and they're like, you know.
We got the mayor of Mount Olive goes to church here.
But really, the 2 years I worked there, they didn't seem to have any problem with it, you know, of course, you had to dress the kids a certain way, and there was all kinds of rules, but it seemed like it really helped them. Because there's, over half of those inmates are lifers, they're never getting out.
Well, Dan's girlfriend works there. She's
does
works
she?
in the cafeteria.
That's where I
or
worked in the
whatever.
kitchen.
The kitchen.
Yeah, I work directly with the inmates.
She does too.
And they're like children. You just have to tell them this is how it's going to be and stick to your guns. And they're usually pretty good about it. Some of them try it.
Oh, we,
I only had one really try me. He got paid for it. He's like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. I said, I can't believe you're doing that to me. Like a little kid, I had a little kid there.
well, I guess if we did have an announcement, the next thing coming up, September 10th, nursing home, 2:30. Potluck dinner before.
Oh, I won't be here. I won't be here in September.
Just don't want to.
Monty will be here. You cooking,
I'm kidding, I'm just-
What are you cooking?
Hey now, I'm actually gonna be speaking at Mike's church, about
This is my
It's the other
this
church.
other church. About
Two
the
churches.
spiritual warfare, and so just pray for me about that, because I really feel like God's been talking to me about spiritual warfare and strongholds in our life, and I've been working this for like 3 months now.
Remember that?
You should be loose by now.
Well, Gavin, right? You don't wanna dismiss?
School starts tomorrow, pray for me.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.